You guys, we spoke to the supervising producer and head director of X-Men 97. Check out our conversation with Jake Castorena. First of all, congratulations on the series. Can I tell you how excited I am that Morph finally gets his due in the opening credits?
Yes, yes. That's great. Thank you. That's awesome. Yeah, I got to give a shout out to Chase Conley and Emi Onimura, our episodic directors. They worked very close and in tandem with Larry Houston, the OG Larry Houston on the opening titles. And yeah, they were really able to help carry that away, all the way through. So I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Very, very cool. So I think one of the great things that you guys do in the first episode is make Cyclops cool again. Like too often he comes off as the stuffed shirt of the team, and in this first episode he's got loads of cool moments. So just talk to me about, I guess, the thought process of going, "Hey, wait, this is a cool character. We've done him dirty in the past. Let's make him cool again."
Yeah, thankfully, a lot of that responsibility didn't fall on my shoulders. That was all decided well before I was brought in.
Right.
That was from the vision of Bodemeo and the story Bible from the start. Specifically, the high octane optic blast when he says "See you on the ground" and he
Oh,
lands.
that was
That
great.
that was in script from day one. That beat was there from day one. It was just our my job and the team's job visually to figure out how do we accomplish that. How do we show it? As far as what or how we make Cyclops cool, that's ingrained from in the scripts. That's ingrained in the stories. That has all been given to us in a solid foundation. It was just up to us to go, well, how do we shoot it? Is it cooler if we go this
Oh,
way? Is it cooler if we go this way? Does he come towards camera? So and that's where the visual aspect and the fun of that comes from.
and let me tell you, the visuals in these first three episodes, they allowed us to watch the first three episodes. The action sequences are tremendous. There is such a frenetic, kinetic energy to everything that's going on. And I was wondering if you could talk to me about bridging that gap between keeping the show looking like a true season six and then embracing all of the progress that has been made in animation over the last 30 years. Because it's subtle, but I see it.
Yeah. Well, and again, this is one of my favorite questions to answer because that's the point. That like that's mission accomplished as far as our team is concerned. Because it's just that, right? When we're doing a revival, we are a spiritual successor. You should be able to go from the OG show right into our show, or our show into the OG show. When you were doing that, you were automatically adhered to a certain set of parameters, a certain sandbox to play in, right? And if you go out
Yeah.
of that, it's no longer the show, it's no longer the vibe, right? So it came down to, okay, what about it that helps it feel 90s, nostalgic, helps it feel in that way, but also at the same time animation is being pushed so far these days. It's also being recognized not just as a medium for children but another medium to tell stories, right? But in tandem with that, peers and colleagues and friends in animation, they're doing some cool stuff, man. And so it's about being fresh but familiar. It's about being the show you love and remember and the show you feel you remember, but also keeping it relevant, right? And that's where the storytelling, the scripts, the writing, the staging, all of it comes into play. And what I could speak to in the visual aspect was something that I brought in early on to talk to the directors about to help invoke into the board artists was looking at, because our aspect ratio is just different too. I mean, look at our
Yeah,
aspect
of course.
too. We're cinematic as hell. So, it's like composition just has to change. And it's like, okay, well, let's look at cinematic stuff from 96 to 98. What was being done at the time? How were things being shot? What lenses were they using? We don't get real lenses in storyboards. We have to mimic
Of
all that
course.
hand-drawn stuff. But it's understanding when to shoot with a compressed lens, when to shoot with a dynamic lens, who's standing next to who's not standing next to who, right? When do you cut those emotional close-ups, getting really nitty-gritty with that stuff? That's what the OG show did. But then when it gets to the action, something I like to say is that's when you get to go hog nasty wild, because you have grounded and you have lived and in the 90s, feeling, and you've earned the audience's respect ideally, that they go, okay, I'm in the 90s stuff. So when you get something high octane or a little bit extra, oh, that it really hits that palate, right? And that's just where it comes from. It's embracing what we can, honoring, it's essentially making a period piece. But then when it
Yeah.
comes to action sensibilities. We've just, again, like you said, we've just learned so much as an audience, as choreographers in the industry, just how the medium has changed. So for us to not take advantage of that would be a disservice to the show. But we also have to watch all the bells and whistles we put on, because then it instantly, and I not kidding, how very quickly it can not feel like the show. Like we
Yeah,
discovered
of
very
course.
early on. Okay, don't. Cool, got it. And that helps. So yeah, it's a very meticulous and very planned process by a lot of people on the show and on the team. But it's great to know that all of that work is paying off, because you're supposed to just feel it, you know. So
Yeah. Jake, I'm all out of time, but shit, man, the show is good.
awesome. Thank you.
Let me just say this. I texted my colleague after watching the first episode and I said, if they write the X-Men movie half as well as this, it's going to be good. So thank you so
I would
much.
have to agree. Awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
X-Men 97 drops on Disney Plus Hotstar March 20th. Check it out. Let us know what you think. Sound off in the comments. And thank you so much for watching.